7 wolves just entered New York City, and for 30 days, nobody could stop them. It is 2:47 in the morning and something is howling in Central Park. Not a car alarm, not a drunk guy near Columbus Circle. Something with 130 pounds of muscle and 2-inch fangs is standing in the middle of Manhattan, pointing its nose at the skyline and howling loud enough that wolves 6 miles away could hear it. Except there are no wolves 6 miles away. There are no wolves anywhere near New York City. There haven't been for over 300 years. You are the alpha. You have 6 wolves behind you, and New York City has 8 million people, roughly 2 million rats, and absolutely zero idea what is about to happen to it. This is day 1. It is not going to go the way you expect. Here is the first thing you need to understand about this simulation. A wolf pack's natural territory is between 50 and 1,000 square miles. Your pack needs that much space to hunt, patrol, and survive without running out of food. That is the minimum. That is what wolves require just to function. Central Park is 1.3 square miles. You have been given a rectangle of trees surrounded on every side by 8 million people, 10 lanes of traffic, and the loudest city on earth. A wolf pack in the wild travels up to 30 miles a day. In Central Park, you can walk the entire perimeter in about 90 minutes. This is not a territory, this is a very expensive dog run. But wolves do not negotiate with geography. They work with what they have. And the first thing you do, before hunting, before sleeping, before anything, is claim it. Your pack fans out in silence. Wolves do not bark or growl when they are working. They move quietly, deliberately, like a team that has done this 10,000 times before, because evolutionarily speaking, they have. Within 2 hours, every trail, every tree line, every gap in the brush has been scent marked. Every lamppost on the East Drive, every bench near the reservoir, every drainage ditch along the South End where the smell of humans is thickest. Central Park now belongs to the pack. The raccoons do not know it yet. The 2,373 squirrels do not know it yet. The man sleeping on the bench near the Harlem Mere definitely does not know it. But the claim has been filed. And now comes the part that nearly ends everything on day 1. Food. Wolves eat large hoofed animals. Deer, elk, moose, bison. These are the prey animals that wolves evolved alongside, that a pack of 7 can bring down efficiently, that provide enough meat to feed everyone for days. A single elk can keep a pack fed for a week. Central Park has no elk. Central Park has no deer. Central Park has squirrels, raccoons, Canada geese, rats the size of shoes, and 42 million human visitors per year who have been feeding the squirrels so long that the squirrels walk up to strangers and make eye contact while waiting for food. These squirrels have never met a predator in their lives, and that is about to become their problem. The first hunt happens at 4 a.m. There is a raccoon working a trash can near the 72nd Street entrance. About 15 pounds. Slow. Completely focused on what appears to be a half-eaten hot dog. It has no idea that 7 wolves have been watching it for 4 minutes from the tree line, triangulating, waiting for the right moment. 11 seconds. That is how long the hunt takes. The pack moves as one organism, cutting off every escape route before the raccoon even registers the threat. It is so fast and so coordinated that it looks less like a hunt and more like a geometry problem that the raccoon got wrong. The raccoon does not survive, but the hot dog does, which feels like a detail that matters somehow. Here is the issue. 15 pounds of raccoon split 7 ways is about 2 pounds per wolf. Wolves need roughly 4 to 7 pounds of meat per day just to maintain their weight. 2 pounds of raccoon is not a meal. It is a reminder that you are very, very far from Yellowstone, and you are still hungry, and the city is starting to wake up. The pack learns fast, faster than almost any other predator on Earth. This is what makes wolves so dangerous in any environment. Not just their speed or their teeth or their coordination, but the fact that they watch, they remember, and they adjust. Within 48 hours, the pack has mapped every prey concentration point in the park. The raccoons cluster around the trash cans on the south end after midnight when the park staff stops doing rounds. There are dozens of them. Overpopulated, well-fed, completely unused to being hunted. The geese gather at the reservoir in the early morning when they come in low off the water and land in tight groups. The squirrels, about 2,000 strong according to the last count, are everywhere during the day. Confident, ground level, and shockingly easy to ambush when you move low through the grass, and they are focused on a pretzel someone left on a bench. And then there are the rats. New York City has an estimated 2 million rats, possibly more. They emerge at night around every restaurant dumpster, every overflowing trash can, every alley behind every food cart in a 50-block radius surrounding the park. They are fast. They are smart. They have been surviving in this city for 300 years. But they have never been hunted by something that runs 35 miles per hour and coordinates attacks without making a sound. Wolves do not naturally hunt rats. Rats are too small, too scattered, too energetically inefficient to bother with in a normal habitat. But this is not a normal habitat, and necessity is a very effective teacher. By night 3, 2 of the younger wolves have figured out that the rats near the tavern on the green service entrance emerge in numbers large enough to be worth the effort if you move fast and you do not stop. This is not dignified. This is not what 6 million years of wolf evolution prepared you for. But it keeps the pack fed. And a fed pack is a pack that survives to figure out something better. The ecosystem is already reacting. The raccoons near the south trash cans have stopped coming out before 3 a.m. The geese have not landed at the reservoir in 2 days. The squirrels on the south lawn are no longer approaching strangers. They are watching the tree line instead, which is a behavior that Central Park squirrels have simply never had a reason to develop before. Something has changed the rules. They can feel it. They just do not know what it is yet. Here is what nobody who designs this simulation thinks about until it is too late. Dogs. New York City has approximately 600,000 registered dogs. Tens of thousands of them walk through Central Park every single day, and wolves treat dogs as territorial intruders, not as prey, not as allies, as threats that have entered their claimed space and need to be dealt with accordingly. The first incident happens on day 4. A man is walking a large Labrador near the Ramble at dusk. The lab picks up the scent trail, locks on, and starts pulling toward the tree line, which is the worst possible decision the lab has ever made. 3 wolves materialize from the brush before the man can process what he is seeing. They are not attacking. They are displaying, standing tall, tails raised high, cutting off the dog's escape routes. It is a territorial warning. It is also absolutely terrifying if you are a man in a fleece vest who just wanted to take his dog for a walk. The man does the correct thing and pulls the dog back. The wolves hold position for about 20 seconds and then melt back into the trees. The man stands there for a moment, breathing hard, then calls 911. He describes what he saw. The dispatcher does not immediately believe him. This is understandable. There have not been wolves in Manhattan since the 1600s. And here is the part that should make every dog owner in New York City deeply uncomfortable. If that pack had decided to treat dogs as prey instead of territory, this story ends very differently. Wolves have killed dogs in documented cases across the American West by luring them away from their owners and into tree cover where the rest of the pack is waiting. It takes seconds. And in Central Park at dusk, with a tree line 10 meters from every footpath, there would have been nothing anyone could do. The pack chose not to, but the pack chose. That distinction matters more than most people realize. By day 5, there are 3 separate 911 calls about large, dog-like animals in Central Park. By day 6, wildlife officials are involved. And this is where the simulation reveals its most important lesson about wolves, which is that they are smarter than the situation requires them to be. The pack detects the humans before the humans find them. Wolves can smell a person at 300 meters. They can hear a 2-way radio from farther than that. By the time the first search team enters the north end of the park, the pack is already relocated to the densest section of the Ramble. 36 acres of intentionally wild, tangled woodland in the center of the park, so thick with brush that even experienced trail runners get turned around in there. 7 wolves in that terrain are effectively invisible. The search team finds nothing, not a track, not a tuft of fur. Just silence and the faint sense that something is watching, which it is. 2 weeks in, the pack is stable, not thriving. The food math is still brutal, and 2 of the younger wolves have lost noticeable weight, but stable. The ramble has become the den site. The hunting routes are established. The pack has even developed a rotation that avoids the NYPD patrol patterns, which run on a schedule that a wolf's memory can map in about 4 days. And then, something happens that the simulation did not predict. The dogs start figuring it out, not all 600,000 of them, but the ones that walk the same routes every day, the ones whose owners let them off leash in the early morning hours in the designated areas near the Great Lawn. Those dogs start refusing to go near the tree line. Golden retrievers, which will normally approach anything, are hitting the end of their leashes and sitting down. A pair of German shepherds that have walked the same path every morning for 3 years start pulling their owner in a completely different direction without explanation. Animals know. They always know before the humans do, and the humans are getting closer to figuring it out too. The video surfaces on day 16. A woman out for a 5 a.m. run near the reservoir catches 12 seconds of footage on her phone. Dark shapes, moving in formation, low and fast through the pre-dawn gray. The footage is blurry. It could be large dogs. It could be coyotes. New York City does have coyotes. But the way they move, the synchronization, the total silence, the way the lead animal stops and every other animal stops at exactly the same moment. That is not coyotes. Coyotes do not move like that. Nothing moves like that except wolves. The video gets 4 million views by noon. Day 30, end of the simulation. All 7 wolves are alive. The pack has not starved, has not been captured, has not been seriously injured. By any measure of raw survival, they won. They took a 1.3 square mile rectangle of urban green space and bent it entirely around their presence. The raccoon population relocated to the eastern edge of the park. The geese abandoned the reservoir completely. The squirrel population dropped. The dog-walking patterns of thousands of New Yorkers shifted without anyone understanding why. An apex predator inserted itself into the middle of the most densely human place on Earth and survived 30 days without being caught. But here is what the simulation actually proves, and it is not what you expect. Survival and thriving are not the same thing. The pack survived on rats and raccoons when it was built for elk and moose. It compressed into 1.3 square miles when it needed 50. It spent energy avoiding humans instead of hunting. It never stopped being hungry. 2 of the wolves lost enough weight that a real winter would have put them in serious danger. The city did not kill the pack, but the city did not make room for it either. There was no niche, no ecological slot that said, wolf-shaped. Every day was a negotiation between what wolves are designed to do and what Manhattan will allow. And Manhattan is very good at not allowing things. The wolves howled every night from the ramble, a deep, low call that traveled across the park and bounced off the buildings on 5th Avenue and Central Park West and faded somewhere over the Hudson. 8 million people heard it, and most of them assumed it was something else because that is what you do when your brain encounters something that should not be possible. You find a simpler explanation. But it was real, and for 30 days the oldest predator in North American history lived in the most modern city on Earth, hunted its rats, avoided its police, outwitted its search teams, and reminded every dog, every raccoon, every carefully tamed squirrel that had forgotten what fear felt like, that the wild does not disappear just because you pour concrete on top of it. It waits, and if you give it 7 wolves and a dark enough night, it comes back. If this video kept you watching, hit the like button and drop a comment telling me which animal and which city you want simulated next. If that comment gets enough likes, that is the next video. Subscribe and hit the bell so you do not miss it.